So, welcome to Voice of Creation. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Reya Manna, and I work with sound as a means for transmutation, for alchemy, for moving energy. And in this time that we find ourselves in, this current location and in time and space, we are at a transition point between ages, a point where we're at the end of an old cycle, an old 26,000 year cycle, and we're at a bridge into a new 26,000 year cycle. And this new era is an era of heightened vibration, heightened possibility, and also one where we are finding again the power of our voices to usher in the new earth. So if you're here today, maybe you're here because you have felt blocked or stuck in your ability to express. Maybe you also feel called to step more into your authentic expression in the world, and you need access of more of your gifts and talents to do so. Today we're going to go through and look at where our voice comes from, how we can fully access it, how we can use sound for transformation, to move energy, to move blocks, and clear ancestral trauma, and also look at stepping more fully into our dharma, our purpose, and our mission. So we'll start with a guided visualization to kind of tune in together. And then I have a presentation, so like a slideshow we'll go through, and in there we'll do a couple kind of journeys, visualizations, and then at the end we'll do some work with sound vibration to liberate some stuck energy in the voice and in the body. And at the very end there'll be some time for questions. So if you want to have some way to take notes, or if you just want to experience it, just tune in for whatever is right for you. So, all right. So, with this field of sound, we're all working with ourselves as one body, where all of our energies in their activated, present, alive state can join together with one another so that we can have access to something greater than we had access to alone. So, let's rub our hands together. Our hands are an extension of our heart. Our heart is the seat of our electromagnetic field. Also, the heart is the seat of love and compassion. And through our hands, we extend that love into action. So when we rub our hands together, we're stimulating that principle of love and compassion within our being. And we are also working with all the energy meridians of the body that run through the fingers. So we're stimulating those. Working with the voice is a full body experience. So we'll shake out the hands. And then with the fingertips, we'll tap the chest, all along the rib cage. Activating the electromagnetic field. And then with the fingertips, tap the head, bringing blood flow to the brain. And we'll rub our hands once more, feeling the heat generating. And then we're going to just sweep the throat. So opening up the throat, just noticing how this feels, noticing the energy, noticing what's present for us in this space. And then shake out the hands again, and close the eyes. Connect with your breath. Connect with your heartbeat. Feel yourself arriving into this moment. Whatever you've been holding, offer it into this space. Bring yourself fully here. And then feel as though you have a column of light extending through the central column of your body, extending to the heart of the heavens. And then feel this column of light moving down through your body, down to the heart of the earth. Feeling this column anchored to the heart of the earth, seeing the heart of the earth as though she is a star, feeling the starlight energy coming up through your root, feeling your spine long and straight as you extend with this column of light upward through your crown to the heavens, connecting with the heart of the heavens, seeing the starlight flooding down through the central column. And on the inhale, pull the light of the sun, the light of the suns and the stars down through your crown, down into your heart. Then on the exhale, exhale this light down into the earth. Inhaling the energy from the earth up through your root, up to your heart. Exhaling this energy up through your crown to the sun. Inhale the energy of the stars and the sun down through your crown, down to your heart. Exhale the energy down through your root, down to the center of the earth. Inhaling the energy of the earth up through your root into your heart. Hold your breath at your heart. Exhale here, seeing this energy expand. And then holding your awareness at your heart, pull the energy down from the stars through your crown, inhaling deeply the sunlight energy in through your upper centers, into your heart. Hold the breath, feeling this mixture of heaven and earth. Exhaling the sunlight down to the earth and the earth energy up to the sun simultaneously. Inhaling the sun down to your heart and the earth up to your heart. So continue this inhale and exhale process at your own pace, feeling yourself simultaneously pulling earth and heaven into you, and then exhaling earth and heaven out from you in the opposite ways. So you are this mixing point for heaven and earth. And then you can find the still point of your breath, continuing to inhale and exhale, just feeling where these inhales and exhales live within your body. And we invite in the directions. We invite in the east, the energy of air, Archangel Raphael, to guard the gate of the new, of beginnings. Hatun Kuntar, mighty eagle, fly us high above the earth plane, carried on the winds of the unseen. Come into our circle, bless us and teach us. Aho. Connecting with the energy of the south, we invite in the energy of the south, Archangel Michael, the energy of protection, of growth. We invite in Sachamama, Mother Serpent, to wrap her energetic coils of light around us, help us to shed old skin so that we may be born anew. We welcome you into our circle to teach us, to guard these gates, to protect us. Aho. Turning to the west, we invite in the spirit of the west, Otorungo, Mother Jaguar, We invite her in to devour any heavy and dense energy that we may be holding. We invite in Archangel Gabriel to protect the gate of the West, the energy of Hathor, mistress of the West, to guard the passageway through our endings, to show us how to see the unseen. We invite these energies into the space to protect us, to bless us. Aho. And turning to the north, we invite in the spirit of the north, Archangel Uriel, Archangel of prophecy, of vision. May the clear winds of the north, the clear voices of spirit speak through into this space. We invite in the energy of Siwakinti, royal hummingbird, to show us how to find the sweetest nectar in the smallest spaces and give us the strength to make our epic journey through this life. We invite these energies into the circle to protect our space, to protect our boundaries. We cast a circle of protection around us as these archangels guard these gates. We invite them into the circle to bless us and protect us. We give gratitude. Aho. We invite in the energy of Pachamama, of our sweet Mother Earth, of her elementals, of earth, of water, of fire, of air, of ether. We ask that these beings reconfigure our matter, bringing us into alignment with the truth of who we are, with our divine selves that we were created to be, to heal us, to soothe us, so that we may walk in right relation with this earth. We invite in the kingdoms of the stone people, the plant people, the insects, the fungi, the animals, paying homage, asking for guidance, for protection, for fortification on our path, calling in our earthly allies so that we may reclaim ourselves in our fullness. Aho. And bringing our awareness to the heavens, we invite in Intitaita, Munakia, Chaskaruna, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, star beings, teachers of light that guide us and guard us in a good way, our angels, archangels, our guides, all the benevolent beings of light that stand witness to our progress, that stand in the unseen world, singing for us, flowing us energy, giving us blessings. We invite these energies in to protect our space, to further align us with the star of our destiny, to align us with the truth of who we are, to clean us and clear us, to clean our channel, to clean our connection to source, so that we may remember the truth of who we are. We give gratitude. We call in Great Spirit, Creator of the universe, our Holy Mother, to hold the space, to make our presence known. We invite in all of our allies from all worlds, seen and unseen, to hold this container with us. We anchor these energies across the cosmos. We ask for protection and alignment, that only energies that are for our highest and best are allowed to be present here. All other energies may be satisfied elsewhere. And we invite in the energy of infinite love, the thread that weaves us all together. May this love awaken our hearts, bless us and connect us as we are a blessing. Aho. So just connecting with this still point in your breath once again, finding an intention, for our workshop today, for Voice of Creation. What are you recalling to yourself? What are you inviting the reclamation of? And seeing this intention as though it is done, seeing it filled with light, holding it in your heart. Then feel your consciousness, your awareness flooded with light, your mind, your emotions, all of it. And then inhale deeply into the chest. Hold the breath, squeeze the body. Reach the arms up, inhale a little more. And then exhale, shake out the hands. Ah, just make a little bit of noise. Ah. Ah. So at any point, if you have any comments that you want to put in the chat, please do. And if you want to comment on how you felt during that meditation, what you noticed, if you wanted to add your intention into there, please do. And I'm going to share screen and we'll go through we'll begin our presentation. So welcome to Voice of Creation. And this is an opportunity to reclaim our voice. Our voice as that seat of power, that seat of creation in the world. Often, people have grown up, and you can tell me if this has been you, being told that you couldn't sing, you have a bad voice, just be quiet, just mouth the words, stand in the back. We've had this wound with singing, with speaking up for ourselves through teachers, parents, siblings, and often this trauma continues to replay as adults, where we don't feel that we can be fully expressed, that there's something wrong with being all of who we are. And this is a deep wound that is carried in the collective. So this wound of not being able to be our fully expressed self shows up in many ways. And to illustrate this is the awareness that there is a connection between listening and speaking. So listening is receiving, it's taking messages in, and speaking is putting messages out. This is the yin and the yang. They're two sides of the same coin. So when we listen, we're receiving messages from our environment. This is a feminine, a receptive, a lunar principle. When we're speaking, it's the way that we output, the way we give back into the world. It's masculine, it's active, it's solar. And if we have had messages in our environments that we didn't want to hear, then we often have put up some sort of block to our listening. We've said, you know what, I'm not buying that, I don't want those messages. And when we put up a boundary to what we will receive through our listening, then it also puts a boundary to what we're able to speak and deliver into the world. And there's a little illustration of the internal workings of our sinus cavities. And you can see that our ears are right directly connected to our throat. So the messages that come in to our lives impact the way we speak, the sound of our voice, the way that we express. And, just as a little aside story, when I was in high school, I would have to go to the ear doctor every 6 months because I couldn't hear. And then he would clean out my ears and I could hear again. But it was also a period of time where I was getting a lot of messages, like, pretty negative messages in my home life. And I think that was my body's self-protective mechanism that was creating a blockage in my ability to hear. Since I moved out of my home, I haven't had that same need to get my ears cleaned every 6 months. So, it's interesting just to look at some of these correspondences, and maybe there's some things that are reminding you of something in your own life. And everything is vibration. Every element in the natural world is vibration. Every rock, tree, creature, mountain, as well as every condition of the mind, body, and environment. Vibration emits sound. And so along these lines, there's measurements in certain systems of a vibrational tone scale. And this vibrational tone scale, you look at the emotions and you can see the corresponding vibration for each emotion. And based on what emotional bandwidth you're exhibiting, it depicts like 42 different areas of your life. Thought patterns, health issues, even to the extent of career preferences, based on this emotional vibrational bandwidth that we occupy. So when we recognize that vibration is impacting us to such a great degree, when we understand this and we know how to work with it, we can use sound to shift and alter that vibrational bandwidth in which we're operating, to give us greater access to the emotional state, to the states of health and well-being that we really want to have for ourselves. Actually, sound, singing, resonant sound that we make ourselves is considered the first form of sound healing, because when we make sound, it vibrates our bones, which has the capacity to alter our DNA. So we can shift our reality through vibration. And you can see this tree, this idea that everything has a vibrational field that it's putting out. We have a vibration, the earth has a vibration. And so we can work at vibration, at the vibrational level, to inject cause, we can inject at cause a new experience of physical reality. Because everything is held in this energetic field, it's a more rarefied form of the physical world. So we can attack issues in the physical world through the portal of vibration. And what is singing? So what we think is singing is actually something that started with the invention of recorded sound in like the 1930s, 40s, 50s. Since that time, we've had recordings of people singing, and pretty much everywhere we go, grocery store, get in the car, we're in the elevator, we're hearing music of some sort. So we have these reference points for comparison. But before the advent of recorded sound, singing was just something that we did. Singing was a part of who we were. It was something that we did for every activity. While we're cooking, while we're waking, when the sun is rising, during the solstices, equinoxes, harvest, hunt. Singing and making sound was just part of who we were. And so a big part of my work is bringing us back to this natural relationship with sound emanation, that it doesn't have to just be something that's reserved for an elite few. The Aboriginal people of Australia believe that the land is alive, and that to keep it alive, they must sing to it. And native traditions throughout the world understood this interdependent relationship between humans and the earth. They recognized that they needed to sing to keep the land alive. And when you're putting energy and attention, vibration, love into the earth, what happens is that you open up this vacuum of your consciousness, and that energy and blessings start flooding into you. So when we're talking about vocal trauma, reclaiming our voice, a big part of it comes back to reclaiming our location in time and space, our relationship with the earth, and reclaiming our location in even our physical bodies. Singing was used as a means of communication with the ancestors, the spirits of the land, and for the indigenous people of North America. This is common in so many cultures. So if we're wondering why we're not able to speak, to express authentically, a big piece of it is the way that in the Western world we're operating in our relationship with the earth. So if singing was used as a means of communication with the ancestors, the spirits of the land, with Creator, and what are we using our voices for now? We're using our voices for ordering food, for working, for expressing our complaints. When we look at this foundational piece of how the voice was used as a mechanism of connection with all life, that was foundational. When we get back to these foundational principles of what the voice is for, it helps to restore our access to our voice. This is a picture of native Apache ceremony from the 1800s, and just using the mechanism of dance and song for connection. And it's the power of it. It looks foreign and odd to us, but this picture is very sacred ceremony. So some of these pictures that I'll show will be to hopefully stir your memory on some level, that there's more than meets the eye, more to life than meets the eye. In the past, the balance of the ecosystem and the homeostasis of the land were intact. Back in times where tribes and cultures roamed the land and connected with Great Spirit, songs were taught and words were spoken which contained this vibration of place. So the songs in the Aboriginal tradition, and you may have heard words such as song lines, these songs were vibrational placeholders of the aliveness, the integrity of whatever is being sung. So in the Aboriginal tradition, they could navigate through these song lines, and these songs would be handed down, and it was a song of the vibration of a place. And so they would sing this song, and it would meet with the vibration that they were singing of and draw it back together. So they could navigate through the recognition of this spirit of place through singing. So it's kind of a complicated concept. If there's any questions about that, please let me know. But just to preface this idea that songs, that vibration, that we have the ability to emit from our mouths could contain memory, could contain awareness. In Eastern cultures, there are mantras, and mantras were spoken. Mantras are seed sounds. They are these expressions which contain the reality in and of itself. It's not like English, which is a sounded out language where you're reading the words and you're like, H makes a H, like I makes it E, depending on the situation. The seed sounds, the seed languages were symbolic. And so the sound that was made contained the reality of the thing they were expressing. So they could sing protection, they could sing alignment with God, they could sing for fruitful harvest. There was this recognition that language, that vibration itself could attune them to other states of awareness and consciousness. This, for example, is the symbol of Om. And Lauren, I saw your question about the blue tree, so I'll get to that later. So Om is a Sanskrit word for the primordial sound of creation. And with a symbolic language, you can get so much transmission from the observing of the symbol and also from the communion with the sound. So in this case, it's Om. These seed sounds stimulate the energy meridians of the body when spoken. And it's done twofold. One is through, whenever we speak, our tongue hits the roof of the mouth, our teeth, um, everything is moved in a certain way. So the tongue stimulates the roof of the mouth. The roof of the mouth contains the 72,000 nadis, or nerve networks, that run through the body. So with the seed sound, which seed languages, some few examples are Hebrew, Sanskrit, and Gurmukhi. So when we're saying these words, they are hitting, our tongue is hitting the roof of the mouth, stimulating these 72,000 nadis, which then move throughout the body. In addition, these 72,000 nadis are connected with our navel center. So whenever we're making these sounds, taking deep breaths into our diaphragm, we're also stimulating this point of connection with our navel, stimulating those 72,000 nadis to help us move energy, remove blocks and stagnation. And this is a picture of the nadis. Oh my goodness, how confusing. And, just to demonstrate like the interconnectedness with so many different parts of the body. And also to demonstrate to us as we get into it, to really reclaim our voice. It's more than just something that we're doing with our throat. That our voice is like the wind opening of a flute. It's the place the sound comes out of, but if you don't have the whole flute, then there's not going to be sound at all. So it's your entire body that impacts the sound that's able to be spoken. Another example of using sound and singing for connection with the other world is with the shaman of Siberia, the curanderos of South America. They would use sound and singing for healing, communication with the spirit world, to bring balance to their relationship with nature. So I'm giving these examples to demonstrate to us some of the more alive and foundational points of connection for the voice, for singing, for sound, to frame our experience of how we can further use our voice. In Egypt, there's evidence of sound being used as a tool for technology, to access our divine human blueprint, for interdimensional travel. I mean, I've come across theories and evidence that pyramids were created from sound technology, that's what moved these giant stones. Also, the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid is said to be a resonant sound chamber that can be used for astral travel, travel into higher dimensions of consciousness, travel into past and future. And again, this is all through the use of our own voice. And, hopefully this is expanding your awareness and perception of just what's possible for you and from you as a human being. Here's a picture of the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx in Egypt. And also along this line that everything is vibration. Vibration contains memory. So a spirit of place, temples, sacred sites, sacred mountains, ceremonial grounds, they hold the memory of all the ceremonies and rituals and prayers and magic that had ever taken place in a location like that. So when we look at a picture or we go to these sacred lands, it can remind us of something we forgot. It can remind us of who we are. It can remind us of a gift or an ability or a talent, and hopefully restore our connection. The ability that humans have to make sound has been used as a bridge between ourselves as individual units, with each other, as communication, but also as a communication between the seen and the unseen world, and a bridge between heaven and earth. If you ever hear a beautiful song being sung and you're just moved to tears, it's like there was an otherworldly energy that came in and spoke to your heart through that sound. Our relationship with nature is the foundation of our ability to use our voice. And let's just take that in for a moment. Because I know I never was told that. It's either, be quiet, know your place, or, yeah, you sound good saying, um, speaking, singing, self expression was kind of an afterthought for me. And in my background, I have a master of social work and a master of divinity, and worked deeply with South American shamanism for a period of 5 years, and uh, have studied extensively meditation and yoga practices. And what started to be revealed to me over time was that going to sit in nature, going to commune with the land, sending energy and blessings to the earth is the mechanism by which begins to open up our our memory, our connection, our ability, and then speak that reality into creation. So, if you have been feeling disconnected from your voice, a remedy is our relationship with nature. And so, we'll go more into that. Here's another picture. Maybe you'll like this one, Lauren, too, of the energy field of a tree, the energy field of a human being. And you can even see coming from the human being's crown is this kind of spiral of energy. And everything is in communication. Nature is emanating energy fields to us, communicating with us energetically. The trees, the birds, the wind. The trees are like the birds are like primordial sound healers. You can sit outside in nature and get a sound bath just from the sounds of the birds, the crickets. Everything is designed so perfectly by nature to tend to ourselves as spiritual beings, as energetic beings. And in big cities where we're walking on pavement, where we're surrounded by EMFs, those frequencies are non-harmonious to our physical body. They're more distorting. So it would make sense that over time, different aspects of our health, of our self-expression, can become distorted. But the other beautiful thing is the return to nature can restore the balance. And yes. And so in the beginning meditation, we worked with the energy of middle pillar. And this middle pillar is this awareness that we have this central column, this central channel of light. And let's just see. So I think I'm just going to stop the share for a minute. So there's this central column of light that moves down through our crown. And you can envision just like, if you could be above your head, just looking down through the crown of your head, that it's like a clear channel. You can see this column that goes just straight down from your root to your crown. And to access this column, if we're going to be sitting in what I call active body posture, that we're sitting straight with our hips square. We maybe have our navel center slightly tucked in, and our spine long and straight. We can feel as though we have a string from the crown of our head extending toward the heavens. Our chin is slightly tucked, our shoulder blades drawing back and down. We can feel ourselves aligned. And, if you want to sit in this way, feeling your body, if you want to put on your camera and I can comment on your position, if there's anything, if you want any feedback. The idea is that you're activating this active channel pillar of energy that you are. And this middle pillar, this column, is extending down to the core of the earth and extending up to the center of the heavens. And you can see this column expanding, getting wider from that central column that's maybe about this wide, and then feeling it getting larger and larger until your whole body is contained in this column, and even around you in a 9-foot diameter. So feeling yourself just in this really solid column of energy. So just feeling vibrationally this column of energy and inviting into the space a sense of safety, that you're held by the earth, that you're held by the cosmos. And so moving back to our slide, you can see this person sitting on the planet, just receiving, being fed by the energy of the heavens, feeling their own energy field expansive and bright. And this is the Kabbalistic tree of life. And in this picture, there's also a person, and the spheres are superimposed over the body of a person. So in the Kabbalistic tree of life, the top sphere is Keter. It's the crown. And Keter is this emanation point, this source point, this point of light, the idea that created all to come into being. And the energy of this idea goes down through all of these spheres like a lightning bolt until it reaches the bottom, Malchut, which is the kingdom, which is earth. And so that central column where you have Keter, and then the next one you see going down is Tiferet. Tiferet is connected with the energy of the sun, the Christic force, the unconditional love. That's at the heart. And then down further is Yesod. Yesod is the sphere of the moon, and that sits at the second chakra. And then down to the heels of the feet is Malchut, and that is the earth. So along that central column, you have the idea moving down from the crown, down to the heart, down to the second chakra, and down to the heels. So if you look at the Kabbalistic tree of life, it echoes to us this idea of our central column, or the central channel. And so upper world versus lower world creation. Da'at versus Yesod. Here's another picture of this Kabbalistic tree of life. So in this tree, there's another sphere. Under that crown, Keter, there is Da'at. And Da'at is not in the other picture because it is the hidden sphere. See, it's not there. We only have Keter and we have Tiferet. But on this picture of the human being, at his throat, we see a sphere with no number in it. Very suspicious. What's that about? So coming back to this Kabbalistic tree of life, Da'at is the hidden sphere. It's the sphere of wisdom that is located, if you superimpose it on the human body, in the throat. If we move down to Tiferet, we have our heart. Then we move down to the Yesod, which is the second chakra. Yesod is the seat of our lower world creation. That's second chakra is connected with sex, with creativity. You know, babies get born through the action of the second chakra, and that is connected with Yesod. So new human life in physical form is brought into the world via the portal of Yesod. Everyone comes through Yesod, through sex. And so that's the lower world creation. Yesod is the seat of lower world creation. And if you proceed up past Tiferet, you get to that Da'at. That is the seat of higher world creation. When we are aligned with our central column, when we are aligned with our actions, with our words, with our thoughts, with our emotions, when we do what we say, when we contribute positively to the well-being of one another, when we contribute positively to the well-being of our planet, when we're in right relationship with our earth, in right relationship with one another, in right relationship with Creator, it begins to give us access again to that hidden sphere of knowledge and wisdom, and give us the capacity to speak our word into creation. So Da'at is the seat of upper world creation. Because when we live in alignment and harmony and balance with the natural world, then what we say becomes so. What we speak becomes manifest. And we're constantly speaking our reality into creation. And, if you want to just do an exercise over the next week, pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention to what you want, and then pay attention to what you're saying. Because often we really contradict ourselves. We might say, oh, I want a happy, healthy life and have great abundance. And then we go around saying that we're broke or that nothing's working out for us, or we are literally thinking, speaking, acting our world into creation. So when we start to bring our thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions into coherence, then we start to begin to access again that power to speak the world into creation. And at this time, this transition between ages, many of us are being called to commune with those higher frequency awarenesses and help them anchor into this earth plane through the power of our word. And the power of our word manifests even further into writing, into art. That speech then becomes creative expression. So when we have this communion with upper world awarenesses, with the possibility of clean water, of peaceful communities, of natural building practices, when we take these ideas, which is the realm of Keter, the realm of idea and possibility, and we turn them into art, to creation, to actualization, that is the bridging of the higher worlds into the lower worlds. So some people may be called to birth children into the world. That's their project to support the future. But we can also have something, a being that we're stewarding, and that being may be an idea. It may be a vision. It may be a hope or a promise or an art that gives more beauty, that gives more love, that gives more peace unto the earth. And so then, so I keep bringing up this idea of middle pillar because it's a really foundational practice for centeredness and balance in our lives. Here I've written, alignment with our middle pillar brings balance from the extremes. And so here is another version of that Kabbalistic tree of life. And this one just has English words on it. And so in this schema, we've talked about the middle pillar, but then there are two other pillars. And the pillar, if you're looking at the screen, the pillar to your right is the pillar of mercy. And if you're looking at the screen, the pillar to the left is the pillar of severity. So, also the Buddha talks about the middle way, talks about this idea of just, treading gently on the earth. Well, the Kabbalistic tree of life gives us an example of the middle pillar, how to walk that middle way, but also the extremes. So the pillar of mercy contains things like wisdom, loving kindness, and those principles are expansive principles. The planet Jupiter is where that loving kindness sphere is. It's Hesed. It's the energy of abundance, of blessings, of grace, of more. It's more food. It's more luxury. It's abundance. It's in that state of great abundance and ever expansiveness can lead to excess. When you just eat and eat and eat whatever you want, you might gain weight. If you just have and have and have and have and have, then it can cause the person to be out of balance. So then the counterpoint to that expansion, if you go to the other side, the pillar of severity, you have discipline. Discipline is that energy of Mars. It's that spiritual warrior. It's, I'm going to cut calories. I'm going to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. And it's what is needed to balance out the energy of expansion. And I'm sure you know that if you apply too much discipline and you do it for too long, that maybe eventually you're exhausted. You went to the gym every day and you haven't been eating the things you want. And so finally you break your diet and you go crazy. So what happens in this world of extremes is there's the pendulum swing. There's a pendulum swing to excess, there's a pendulum swing to denial. And the suggestion here when we're working with our middle pillar is that we're foregoing extremes. We are utilizing our consciousness to live in alignment, to live in balance, so that we no longer have to suffer through that roller coaster ride of emotion. Where there's so much joy and then so much sadness. This gives us a practice of balance, of peace, very much equated to walking in nature, communing with the land, and not riding the extremes of anything, of emotions or despair, and recognizing how all of the emotions are information. Yes. So, which side is which in terms of the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity? So, if this is overlaying you, then we have the pillar of severity on our right side, and we have the pillar of mercy on our left side. This mercy, this expansive, feminine, receptive, abundant flow. And on the right side of our body would be this energy of action, of getting things done. Once I was like, and these concepts that I'm giving you, these are an invitation for further self-exploration. And especially when working with the Kabbalistic tree of life or the Hebrew language, or if there's anything that kind of captured your attention, I would suggest meditating with it. If it's a Hebrew letter, if it's one of these images, to just take some time and look at it. Just look at it before you go to bed, or look at it when you wake up in the morning. Because these symbolic languages, they start to open up another communication system. They start to open up another world for you. Because, of course, we are multidimensional beings. We are set on a trajectory that seems linear, but there's so many different facets of us unfolding all the time. So a big piece of this, so Da'at, is connected with our voice and our self-expression. But so that sphere, if it's looked at the front, it's like from the front, if you can see me, it's like the voice throat area. But if you look at it from the back, where that sphere is it also encompasses the base of your skull. And the base of our skull, there's a bony out indent, like just under the outcropping at the base of our skull. And this is considered the home of the zeal point chakra. The zeal point chakra is the seat of dream time, of astral travel, the realm of the shamans, and our intuition. So our speech is very much connected to our intuition. And sometimes these concepts, you might say, well, how is intuition connected to our speech? This is one of those, it's like a mystery teaching where it's an invitation for you to have an experience of it. So the further opening of our intuitive centers gives us greater access to use our voice for what it is intended for. And there's very little direction of what is your voice intended for. We might think we don't have access to our voice, but what is our voice intended for? If we look through, even what I've just shared today, that our voice is intended as a bridge between heaven and earth, that our voice is used as a communication channel of the unseen world, then that kind of flips on its head maybe what we're doing with our voice most of the time. And if we want to have access to our full voice, then a piece of that is to bringing the voice back into right relation. And thanks for that question, Nels. The heart of a human being is no different from the soul of heaven and earth. In your practice, always keep in your thoughts the interaction of heaven and earth, water and fire, yin and yang. The heart of the human being is that space, that alchemizer of opposites. In the Sufi tradition, they say that the heart is the place where the heavens kiss the earth. And, so that is looking at things from horizontally, I guess, up and down. That, say heaven is above and earth is below and the human being is in the center. Well, if you look at the pillar of mercy and severity, then you're looking at it a vertical dichotomy, that far to the right is too much yang, too much action, far to the left is too much laziness. And what we're going for truly is balance. And when we come into balance and we understand through consciousness the impulse of the extremes, and we help to tame that wild nature, then when we start to inhabit that central column, it's like we put all the pieces together of the flute, so that the great architect of the universe can blow through us like that hollow reed, so that we can be a blessing, so that we can live our dharmic purpose in this life. So this is pretty much what I've been saying. Connection with the earth and with source energy is essential in being able to speak and sing and function. So, just taking that in and recognizing that. I mean, in the description of the workshop, I mentioned this notion of like soul retrieval when it comes to our voice. And, for us to call back all pieces of our soul, we have to feel safe to do so. And if we're operating in a disembodied state, disembodied meaning that our spirit is disconnected from our body, and even that our body is disconnected from the earth. If we're operating in this disembodied, disconnected state, our soul isn't going to feel safe to fully house and live here. And also through trauma, there's places where it's felt better to kick out of the body. So what we're doing even through this wisdom that we're learning, is we're recalling all parts of ourselves back to the here and now. And it's interesting, like I also teach kids, and something I'll do with the kids is we'll rub our hands together, and then we'll put our hands on our heart, and I'll say, okay, feel your heartbeat. They really feel really hard for their heartbeat. And then I'll say, okay, now put your hands on the earth and feel the heartbeat of the earth. And you can even try that now if you feel moved to. But for those kids, as soon as they put their hands on the earth and they feel for the heartbeat of the earth, something happens. It's like this connection channel opens, because how often are we listening to the earth? How often are we listening for her heartbeat? How often are we listening for her rhythm, for her pulses, for her messages? So, practice, an embodiment practice that we can do even on a day-to-day to help with this soul retrieval in our day-to-day life, is place our hands on the earth, send blessings to the earth. Send love from your heart through your hands to the earth. And we get more connected here. We get more grounded here. We get more present here. And then the more here we are, the more all parts of ourselves come back. And sometimes when those parts come back, they come back with tears, and they come back with anger, and they come back in all their ways. And when we can recognize that all those emotions are information, they're just telling us maybe where we ran away from ourselves in the past. The pain was too much. The fear was too much. So in those small, quiet moments when we feel those emotions flooding back in, they're just telling us what happened when they left. They're telling us what happened at those moments when life was too much and we needed to disconnect. So if we can recognize that we have to feel it to heal it, when we can let it pass through, Send it to the heart of the earth. Say, I love you. And just welcome it all to be. It changes. It's only when we deny it and push it away that it feels like too much. But here, I think we're all adults. And, also in this collective space, we invite in these directions. We invite in these elementals, all these unseen reinforcements. We invite in love, the thread that weaves us all together, to help us to hold these spaces, to help us to hold these points of pain or distress, to help us hold these emotions so that they can be alchemized. And we are created for connection to the earth, for connection to each other, connection to source. There was that one image with the tree and the person, and you could see that kind of spiral coming up from their crown. And that's that connection to source. We also have that spiral going down to the earth. We could not live if we were not constantly being fed by earth energy and cosmic energy. And truly, we can't live unless we're also being fed by the energy and love of each other. So, if we are feeling disconnected from ourselves, from one another, from the earth, from the cosmos, it's no wonder that we don't have access to our full self-expression. Because, in times of old, when tribes and cultures were deeply connected to the earth, they were deeply connected to Great Spirit, they lived in families and communities, they were valued, they were loved, everyone had an essential part in the functioning of society, everyone belonged, everyone felt needed and valued. Like, yeah, your voice is online. You're like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Horton Hears a Who. I would watch that with, let's just see where I'm going next. Okay, I'll stop this for a second. Um, in Horton Hears a Who, Horton is this big elephant, and um, he's like in the water one day, and he hears something. And elephants have really big ears, so he's going towards it and going towards it, and then he hears it's like this little tiny speck of dust. And so with his trunk, he picks a flower, and he's trying to follow this speck of dust so it'll land right on the flower. So finally he gets it, and it's a whole, and he gets talking to the mayor of this world. It's a whole world that was on this little speck of dust, and the world was in danger. So this whole movie is about Horton trying to save this world, and nobody believed Horton. They thought that he was nuts. They're like, what are you doing? You're talking to a flower. We're gonna cage you up, and we're gonna take this flower and we're gonna boil it in bezel nut oil, and it's no more. You're crazy. So he runs away and runs away, and but the people on the little tiny speck were also trying to save themselves. And so Horton's like, okay, you guys just have to make so much noise so that they can hear you. So, they're banging their pots and they're banging their pans and they're doing everything they can. And then this littlest Who, he has this contraption with a trumpet, and he just finally with his voice, it was the last voice that finally pushed the sound through, and the people who were trying to capture Horton, they heard it, and then they believed him. So I just give that story so how important your voice is, and also to recognize that when it's like this confluence of circumstances that we never know when it's that final moment that's going to catapult us to the next level, where we're going to have this breakthrough, where we're going to come back to ourselves and our fullness, or gain access to a new level of understanding. It's that last little contribution that we don't know when that moment is going to come. And until it comes, just to recognize, just keep going, keep building your connection, keep believing in yourself, keep heading toward that North Star of your destiny, and you never know when that moment of breakthrough comes. So I just want to see if there's any questions up to this point, if there's any comments, if this is making sense, if it's resonating.
I just want to say it's awesome and total makes sense and loving it all. So you really explain everything, in such a simple way, all the knowledge and wisdom. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Amanda.
Yeah. Soon I will be moving over to my phone because I'll be in the car, but okay, just will give you a heads up. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Okay.
no worries.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Great. Thank you, Nils. Okay. So, the next few slides are just going to ask some questions about you. So it can be, oh, thank you, Cindy. And Lauren, thank you so much. Great. Okay. So, this is, and Vincenza, is that how you say your name? I keep seeing you pop your picture up. It makes me think that you want to say something. Let's see, you're muted. Oh, I still don't hear you. Sometimes that happens with your Zoom. I hear something. You want to say something, Vincenzo? I'll see if we hear you. No. Oh. Well, maybe write it in the chat if there's something you want to share, because I'm not hearing your voice, but it's good to see your face. Oh, great. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, okay, so we're here working with the voice of creation and voice reclamation. So is that the goal is that each of you reclaim more fully your voice and your authentic self-expression. So I'll go back to the screen share and I'm just going to ask these questions, and you can just like take a moment and reflect. And if there's anything you want to write down for yourself, part of our ability to reconnect comes from the awareness of where we were disconnected. And some of the trauma needs to be witnessed. Sometimes the trauma needs to be witnessed in order to be released. And so, this question, how have you been disconnected from the earth? So, just reflect on this for a moment, maybe write some notes. A story that comes to my mind is I'm sure you've heard of the Battle of Wounded Knee that took place a long time ago, a battle of the indigenous North Americans and their defeat. So, after the Battle of Wounded Knee, the artifacts from the battle were taken to a museum in Pennsylvania or something. And so, for years and years and years, the descendants of the tribes of Wounded Knee had been requesting the return of their artifacts. And their request was heard. And in December, I think it was December 29th of last year, the artifacts were put into trucks and traveled back on the Trail of Tears and returned to Wounded Knee. And, kind of to give a little bit more information, and so wonderful and healing. But to give a little bit more information, there's a geomancer who I have studied with, and he has a great name. It's a French name. Peter Shampoo is his name, but it's spelled like Champous, so it's shampoo. So Peter Shampoo is a geomancer, and he studies the ley lines of the earth and the earth rings the movement of energy throughout the planet. And he had identified, and I did a workshop with him in the fall before the artifacts were returned to Wounded Knee. So he has found what he calls a Native American or an indigenous ley line that connects like 11 sacred sites across North America. And it goes through Wounded Knee, and it like empties out in Sacramento. Like there's like a Sacramento earth ring that goes through Mount Shasta, Black Rock City, Mount Whitney. I'm actually in Mount Shasta right now. And so he was talking about this movement of energy across the indigenous ley line that's really been stuck because of all this ancestral trauma. And so on December 29th, they returned the artifacts to Wounded Knee. And I don't know if you're anywhere on the West Coast, it started to rain like pretty much right after that. And it rained for months. We had like the most rain ever. And it felt a bit like, finally that pain had been witnessed. The artifacts had been returned, that energy blockage had been released, and it was able to move forward, cycling through. And Sacramento did definitely get flooded, cycling through, and then ultimately those lines of energy move across North America and deposit into the ocean. So, just to give a little bit of context to these emotional wounds, they don't just impact us, but they can block up weather systems. They can impede the flow of the jet streams, of the rain cycles, of the crops growing. So maybe that gives a context, maybe where you've been disconnected from the earth, where your ancestors may have been disconnected from the earth. And yes, Kaya, do you have a question?
I do. I was wondering, the ley lines that you're talking about, do you know if they go through like LA and the Central Valley area up into Sacramento, and do they go like in a circular pattern? Are they just like a line that goes through? Because I'm just wondering, because I know that this area that I'm in got really flooded also.
Yeah. So let's see. I just took a picture. Let's see if I can send this here. I just took a picture. I might not be able to get it while I'm on the Zoom. It doesn't look like it's answering. So let's see. I'll try one more thing. I have the picture of the earth rings. And of course, there are many different rings, and different interpretations. Okay, I have it here. And it is interesting. I find it really interesting. So, okay, so let me share that. So, this is a picture of some of these earth rings and ley lines. And I don't know if you can see down here, it says First Nations ley, and that goes across through Mount Shasta. And then you can see like as with Sacramento as the center point, there's like rings that go around that, which are marked by other power points. And then you can see that there's another ring at the bottom of the screen that is also connected, and it looks like it might be centered around Los Angeles, but it kind of gets cut off in the picture. But so this is the idea that the energy moves across and then in circles, and is centered around different areas. So, I mean, this is a whole like deep dive to really get into looking at the way the energy flows on the earth. And then you can also see there's correspondences with different sacred sites, different temples, different sacred mountains, that they are often points of power, of energy moving, of energy being consolidated. So, thank you for your question, Kaya. And okay. All right. So that's an example of, so hopefully you had some good notes about your disconnection from the earth. Okay. So now we'll go back and ask the next question. And how have you been disconnected from spirit? And it could be things like, you know, when I was little, I went to church and they told me stuff about God, but then they were really abusive. So I just figured that I didn't, you know, God wasn't for me, um, or just, you know, being in a field with a lot of EMFs or abuse or drugs or alcohol. And, you know, thinking back to your original intention of this reclamation of your voice, what you're calling back into your life, what you're desiring to express more fully, just taking a, you know, casting your gaze back through time to look at where it got off track. So if we really need to have a fully embodied experience with the earth, with spirit, you know, where as a kid, where in your ancestry was there some messaging that you didn't belong or that there was something wrong? So just taking a minute, reflecting on how you've been disconnected from spirit, in this recognition that we're reclaiming our voice. So in order to fully embody our voice, we just want to cast our gaze back to where any disconnection occurred. And then, how have you been disconnected from yourself? And if there was trauma, abuse in your family system, any message that comes to mind where it's like not okay to be yourself. Like for me, I started singing before I could talk. It was clear I wanted to be a singer. And as I got older and people would ask me what I wanted to do, my mom would say, "You can't be a singer because you can't make any money from that." So I had this program that I couldn't be myself because being myself wasn't gonna supply me, wasn't good enough, all kinds of things. So it's these places where maybe your journey got a little bit off track because you got some message somewhere that who you believed yourself to be wasn't correct. So just taking a minute, making note how you've been disconnected from yourself. And then, how has your voice been blocked? Did someone tell you to be quiet? Did someone overshadow you? Were you shut down? We are inviting these memories to come so that we can witness them, so we can set them free. There's a quote by Carl Jung. It says, whatever is in our subconscious, it's a really great quote. I'm remembering the beginning and the end of it. Something like, whatever's in your subconscious that you don't know about, we call it fate. But it just speaks to this idea that we're constantly creating our lives, either through our consciousness or our subconsciousness or unconsciousness. And if it's not our consciousness, we just think that it's our fate, but it could just be these places within our system somewhere that we're unaware of that just keeps repeating the same pattern and cycle. So also this exercise, this workshop that we're doing is an invitation for spirit to move into all these places, known and unknown, and provide relief and release for areas and avenues and stories and karmas that may be holding us back. Thank you, Nils. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Such a powerful quote. So we're inviting any form of the awareness. And it could come in a color or a picture. It doesn't have to be a direct causation or causal link. And then ancestral trauma. So sometimes this could be your own trauma, and it could also be your ancestral trauma. It could be somewhere in your family line that someone, I mean, what our ancestors went through, my goodness, you know, the famine and the wars and the hardship. I mean, there's so much ancestral trauma. I've heard it said that, you know, these generations, like our generation, younger generations, these generations, because we have more in the Western world, more of a steady middle class, it's giving us comfort enough to start to process through these ancestral traumas that nobody had the space to look at. You know, when you're in trauma, you can't process your trauma, and it was just like generations after generations of trauma. So here we are with a little bit of luxury, a little bit of spaciousness, so that we can allow these lines, these wounds to be healed. So we'll just do a little exercise. Time is really flying by. So let's close our eyes for a moment. Rub our hands together. And just shake out your hands, shake your body, shake your head, make some noise. We're calling everything back to us. And just closing our eyes and imagine that you're sitting in the center point of a circle and you're looking to the north. And at the north gate sits your mother's father. And noting that we are sitting in the center of this circle, it's a circle of protection and blessings and light. So nothing can penetrate this circle. Sitting outside the circle is your mother's father. And sending light and blessings through his ancestral line. Sending light, blessings, gratitude to the north, to your mother's father, to all generations past. Feeling the energy of the allies that existed in this family line, and then seeing healings for all others. Who may not be in a good way, or may not have been in a good way. Seeing them held in light as you turn a quarter clockwise, facing the east, where you see your father's father. Sending light and blessings through this lineage of your father's father. Seeing light move through this whole line of generations past. Feeling the allies that exist there for you, and also seeing healings for those who have not been decidedly well. Seeing them all held in light and blessed. Then doing another quarter turn to the south, where you see your father's mother. Seeing her and her whole line filled with light. Light, love, blessings, gratitude. Feeling the allies that you have there, and also sending light and healing to any beings that may be decidedly unwell, may have been decidedly unwell. Seeing them healed and whole and forgiven. Seeing that lineage held in light as you make another quarter turn to the west, where you see your mother's mother. Seeing this line filled with light, your mother's mother and the whole lineage past. Seeing them filled with light, seeing them blessed, healed, whole. Feeling the allies that you have there. And then seeing light moving through and healing any who have been decidedly unwell. Seeing everyone held in light. Bring your awareness back to yourself at the center of the circle. Feel yourself held by these allies. Feel your connection with Earth, with cosmos. Feel within you any places where you have held these stories, and see it all filled with light. Feel parts of yourself coming back online. And inhale deeply into the chest. Hold the breath. Exhale, shake out the hands and open the eyes. And how are you doing? Oh, great. Okay, we're just gonna keep moving along. And okay. So ways to connect. You can put your bare feet on the ground. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Kaya. Yeah, there's something to it when we can connect with our ancestral lines, when we know that we're safe and protected, and we start just by sending blessings to them, and then you start to recognize who your allies are. Oh, thank you. Yes, and the beautiful thing about reconnection is we can just keep doing it. Like reconnection is a daily moment-to-moment endeavor. And if we feel like we've been disconnected, just to come back to the connection. Oh, Cindy, thank you. Yeah, there's so much stored in those places with our ancestry. And so we bring this to our presence so that we can then sing. We're going to use our voice, we're going to use sound vibration to move those energies through in a good way. So we'll come back to ways to connect. Okay, we went over that. There's so many things. Oh, wonderful, Dion. Thank you. So, yeah, so we can just be with that. We're getting, okay, I'm gonna have to skip through these slides about mythology. Sorry, about Hathor, I know, Saraswati, Mercury. There's so much in there. Sheshat, who's the consort of Thoth. Oh my gosh, okay. Sorry. Because I feel like with what is present, we're gonna just vibrate some sound. And when we work with sound as alchemy, the fuel is our emotion. Our intention is fueled by emotion. So when we have access to these deep places where we've had connection or disconnection, when we're really feeling it, that's the time for us to dive in with an intention. It's like, sometimes I'm sure you can relate to this, is that, sometimes we might experience just like such depth of pain or such depth of sadness. And, it can collapse us to the point where we think like nothing will ever work out, we're not good enough. So that emotional transmission that's occurring, it has a few different pathways. So much sadness could just flood us like a tsunami. But so much sadness could also contain within it the spark of a wish. What do you wish in the deepest part of yourself? If you're so sad and feeling heartbroken about maybe it's a relationship, maybe your deepest wish is to have like true love and connection and to really be honored and valued. So an alchemy practice, alchemy itself is the change of one state into another. Like emotional alchemy, energetic alchemy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. So when we can take all that energy present in a sadness, and when we can direct it toward a desire, that is an alchemy. That's a transformation. So to identify in the moment where the source of pain is or the point of pain, and find the wish that's contained within it. And when we're able to, in those moments when we're on our knees, to turn that pain into a wish. Okay, God, bring me the love I need. Bring me the connection I need. Bring me these resources now. Like, I need it to move forward. Like, help me. Like, I can't see a way. So make a way for me where there is no way. Like, it's those moments where the emotions really come to us, that is the fuel for a breakthrough of a perception of a limit. And you can move time and space with your heartfelt prayers and desires. So maybe there's a wish that's arising in you, or a recognition that's arising in you in this now moment, of a desire to be heard, or desire for an ancestor that wanted to be heard, and that we can allow them. So in that visualization, we are at the center point of this circle of protection. So from that point of protection, we can also give back to our ancestors any burdens that we picked up on their behalf. There's a saying that goes, out of nobility or out of grief, we carry the burdens of those who have laid them down before us. Out of nobility or out of grief, we carry the burdens of those who have laid them down before us. And it's this idea that somebody didn't get to fulfill their dream and we loved them so much, so we picked it up and we're going to do it for them. Or we're just so sad that we keep their memory alive, we live out what they wanted. So also in this now moment, through the grace of Creator, may all those burdens, may all those wishes and dreams that are not ours, that are not in alignment with our destiny, may we give them back to our ancestry. And here the wind just started to blow. We give them back in recognition that all of our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they too had a soul destiny and continue to have a soul destiny. We empower them for the fulfillment of their soul destiny by trusting in their divine intelligence that they can handle the choices they made. They can handle the journeys that they've undertaken. We give them back the burdens we picked up on their behalf so that we may be free to follow our highest dharma, that we may be free to align with our soul's destiny as a contribution to the up vibration of planetary consciousness, as a contribution to blessings and peace on this planet. And in family constellations, the way you represent your family system is they're standing behind you. Your family they're your elders. You are the little one. They are the big ones. They came before you. They are the big ones. You are the little ones. You can trust that the big ones can handle it, and you don't have to handle it for them. And just noticing what's present, noticing if there's any wishes, intentions that are arising for you or your family system. And we're going to move into some sound work. We worked with the Kabbalistic tree of life, and this is a chant that corresponds with that tree. So we have Ata, which is representative of the crown. We have Malchut, which is representative of the earth. We have Vegevuda, which is representative of Mars, the severity. We have Vegedula, which is representative of the expansive energy. And then Leolam, Amen. And it also means, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And this is an invocation to set sacred space. So we're inviting in this full reclamation of your voice, of your authentic expression. And we can bring our hands in a mudra called golden triangle. It's the thumb tip touching the index fingertip, touching the middle fingertip. And then your other two fingers are tucked into your hand. So it's thumb, index, middle. Your half of your hand, 3 fingers. And this is for manifestation. And today we'll just have it holding down in our lap, holding our hands like this down in our lap. So the thumb tip, the index, and the middle fingertip. You can also put your hands in this mudra like before you go to bed at night to visualize your next day. It's giving an amplifying force to whatever you're thinking about. So these words, if you want to repeat them after me, are Ata, Malhut, Vege Vura, Vege Dula, Le Olam, Amen. And so we're going to chant them 3 times. We'll go through all of them and then we'll start again. And we'll just chant them like, we'll take a big breath in, Ata, like that. And then we'll keep going. And so you can imagine this column of light extending down the center of your body. We're aligned with our middle pillar, connected with the heavens, connected with the earth. And we'll inhale to begin. Ata Malhut Vegevura Vegedula Le Olam Amen. Ata Malhut Vegevura Vegedula Le Olam Amen. Ata Malhut Vegevura Vegedula Le Olam Amen. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. See your column of light, bright white light. Exhale, shake out the hands. And so to access fully our voice, we're going to go on a little journey. And first, we need to open the heart. Then we're going to go down to our second chakra area, because our second chakra corresponds with our voice. And I'll explain more later. So we're going to open our heart, we're going to open our second chakra, and then we're going to access the voice. So for our heart, we're going to use the seed sound, E-A-O. It's spelled I-A-O, but it's pronounced E-A-O. So you can envision that you have a pink light at your heart, and we're going to chant E-A-O 11 times. So feeling a beautiful rose pink light at your heart center, touched with some gold. And it will just sound like this. I'll give you an example. E-A-O. So we'll do that 11 times all together, envisioning a beautiful light pink light in your heart. So we'll inhale. Inhale. Hold the breath. Feel light filling your body. Exhale, shake out the hands. And just notice how you're feeling. And next we're going to move down to our second chakra, to our sexual chakra, to our womb center, to this region just a couple inches below our belly button. Seeing this area filled with white light. And this is a mantra that is connected with the womb of the universe. And it's pronounced Om, if you want to repeat after me. Om Dim Rum, Dim Rum, Dim Rum, Mama Kama Chakra, Prakshalana Avaham. Om Dim Rum, Dim Rum, Dim Rum, Mama Kama Chakra, Prakshalana Avaham. And this is considered the first mantra of connecting us back to the womb of creation, to ourselves as cause. You can envision that you are in the womb of the universe, or even in your mother's womb. And I'm sure that can bring up a lot of things also. Feeling yourself just held in the void, at cause. And we'll chant this mantra maybe 33 times. And we'll just inhale and then we'll say Om Dim Ram Dim Ram Dim Ram Mama Kama Chakra Prakshalana Avaham. Seeing your second chakra filled with white light, the center of our creativity, the anchor point for our voice, for our self-expression, for our creative expression. The second chakra is where the creativity is born, and then the throat is where it comes into the world. So seeing our second chakra filled with white light, and we'll inhale to begin. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Om dim ram dim ram dim ram mama kama chakra prakshalana avaham. Inhale. Hold the breath. Exhale. Just notice the energy of your body, feeling your second chakra filled with white light. We only did it 11 times because we're short on time. Okay, so next we're going to move up to the throat. And at our throat, we are going to see a beautiful sky blue light filling, emanating the throat. The whole throat chakra, the dot point that encompasses our throat, our vocal cords, the base of our skull. See this whole hidden doorway of our intuition, of the power of our speech. See it filled with beautiful sky blue light. And this is a Japanese mantra put together to bring universal harmony. It was used by Dr. Masaru Emoto to heal waters in a lake after Fukushima. And the words, if you want to repeat them after me: Uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote ma koto no dai wa no myo ga nari nata. So that's Uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote ma koto no dai wa no myo ga nari nata. And so we're going to chant it, seeing this beautiful blue light in your throat, feeling the reclamation of your voice, inviting your voice back, inviting it back from wherever it had been hidden in the earth, inviting it back wherever it had been hidden in the waters, in the rivers, lakes, and oceans, inviting it back from wherever it had been hidden in the fire. Just as I said that, thunder struck outside. Inviting it back from wherever it had hidden in the air. Inviting your voice back from wherever it had hidden in the ether. Inviting your connection to source back. Inviting your heart back. Inviting your connection to the earth back. Inviting your sense of safety back. And as we sit here together, May Creator God Most High fortify your safety now and for all time, that you are safe, supplying all of your resources, your needs, so that your soul can inhabit your body, inhabit your life, calling upon the spirit of the voice to return, return, return. And seeing a beautiful blue, pale blue, sky blue light at your throat, we'll chant this. So we'll inhale to begin, and I'll start and then just come in when you catch on. Uchu, sorry. Uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata uchu no mugen no chikara ga kore kote makoto no daiwa no myoga narinata. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. See the body filled with light. Exhale, let the breath regulate. See your entire body filled with light, your heart filled with light, your voice filled with light, your ancestry filled with light, your thoughts filled with light, your feelings filled with light, your cells filled with light, the electrons in your cells filled with light. And we just name that the eternal power of the universe has gathered itself to create the world in true and grand harmony. You are true and grand harmony. The eternal power of the universe has gathered itself to create the world with true and grand harmony. You are true and grand harmony. And you can say, I am true and grand harmony. I am true and grand harmony. I am true and grand harmony. Feeling the energy in our body. We'll close our sacred space again with one Kabbalah cross, aligning with our middle pillar, feeling our connection to the earth, sending blessings to the earth, feeling our connection with the heavens, sending blessings to the heavens. Sending blessings to all beings who came to join us and pray with us today. And we'll inhale to begin. Ata Malhut Vegevura Vegedula Leolam. Amen. So in summary, I'll just take a moment, sorry. Oh, this pause. I know there's a lot of energy moving. Just feeling all that we just cultivated. And in summary, to embody the full expression of our voice, we must live connected to the earth, to source, and to our hearts. Your voice is needed. Speak with kindness. Singing is a natural part of life. Surround yourself with positive, life-affirming messages. And your voice literally programs your cells and your life. So choose wisely. And thank you for joining me. I pray that you had some insights, had some awareness, gained some tools that you can take away with you. There'll be a replay that I'll share with you, and some other ways that we can move forward is I'm going to be teaching a class starting Wednesday, and it will be 3 Wednesdays in a row, called Song Priestess of Egypt. And we are going to look at the song priestesses and receive transmissions from the Great Pyramid of Giza, from the Nile River, from the Cave of Hathor. We're going to look at this time when sound technology, voice technology was used to transform matter and help us align with the highest version of ourselves as gods and goddesses on this earth. And so that will start Wednesday and be 3 Wednesdays. And I also have a foundations course. It's just an online module. It has 3 classes, and it works with reconnecting us to the earth and some songs around that. Also working with sound for transmutation, but like a detailed practice with certain mantras. And then purification, working with the breath and how to move energies. So that's foundations, a foundations course. And I teach something called the Songkeeper School, which is a program of sacred singing, earth honoring, and ritual, where we go on a deep dive for 4 or 5 months, and we get acquainted with the elementals, we sing to the land, we sing to our chakras. So there's an online version of that available, like in a package, so you can take it at your convenience. And then we have one in person in Mount Shasta happening in August. 5 days in person where we'll sing to the land in Mount Shasta, sing to the sacred waters, commune with the ancient ones in Panther Meadows. It's going to be so powerful. And then we'll have the Songkeeper School Part 2 starting in September. So if you have any questions about any of these things, please let me know. And if you wanted to sign up for the Song Priestess class, the 3 classes, it's $222. If you wanted to sign up today, I'll give it to you for $200. And then if there's anything that you want to sign up for today, we'll give you a discount. And then the Songkeeper School we do in a sliding scale. So Um, Thank you so much for your presence, and I'm open to take any questions. So it says in the chat from Des, this was powerful and so enlightening. I speak with such clarity. It was easy to connect with the information. Wonderful. I loved this. Thank you. Thank you so much, Des. Thank you, Kaya. Thank you, Vincenza. Thank you. And if you had some deep experiences and you want to share them with me, you can send me an email. Um, and I also do personal, like private work. I'm a transformational coach, and we work with the voice, and we work with using sound vibration to further activate our authentic expression. So if there's anything you want to share with me, if anything came up for you, and also if you feel in an emotional state, please definitely reach out to me. The idea of using sound is to move the energy, so hopefully we feel better by the time we're done. But if for some reason you don't, please let me know so that we can keep letting it move through, so that you're held through whatever it is you're going through. And does anyone have any comments or questions? Anything you'd like to share? Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in the future. It was such a blessing to be connected. Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you, Celeste. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Nils. Thank you, everyone.